Hey, hi, hello there and welcome back to Formula Amateur, where today we'll have a quick race rundown on Formula E, as we haven't spoken about them for a while, and this is a two-parter where today we'll be doing the race rundown of what the official races for Formula E did since their season began in December, whereas then next week we will be discussing what the rookie tests have come up and the Formula Evo sessions as well. So let's get started, shall we? Before we start, let's talk about who is actually taking part in this year's Formula E Championship. So for Andretti, it's Jake Dennis and Felipe Drugovich. For Citroën, it's Jean-Eric Vergne and Nick Cassidy. For Cupra Cairo is Josep Maria Marti and Dan Ticktum. For DS Penske, it's Maximilian Günther and Taylor Barnard. For Envision Racing, it's Sebastian Buemi and Joel Eriksson. In Jaguar TSC Racing, it's Mitch Evans and Antonio Felix da Costa. For Lola Yamaha ABT Formula E team, it's Lucas Di Grassi and Zane Maloney. For Mahindra Racing, it's Eduardo Mortara and Nick de Vries. For Nissan Formula E team, it's Oliver Rowland and Norman Nato. And a Porsche Formula E team is Pascal Verlaine and Nico Müller. So now let's get into the actual results. So in the Brazilian qualifying, in 20th position was Maloney, in 19th was Di Grassi, in 18th was Ericsson, in 17th was Drugovich, in 16th was Günther, in 15th is Cassidy, in 14th is Marti, in 13th is Barnard, in 12th is Müller, in 11th is Buemi, in 10th is Rowland, in 9th is Evans, in 8th is Vergne, in 7th is Nato, in 6th is da Costa, in 5th is de Vries, in 4th is Mortara, in 3rd is Ticktum, in 2nd is Dennis, and in first is Verlaine. And how did the first race of the season start? Well, there were a number of DNFs. So in 20th position, first to crash was Ticktum, followed by Nato, then Di Grassi, then Mortara, then Evans, then Vergne, and then Marti. And so there were 13 cars that actually finished the race. So in 13th position it was Barnard, who stayed where he was. In 12th was Drugovich, who gained 5 positions. In 11th was da Costa, who dropped 5 positions. In 10th was Maloney, who gained 10 positions. In 9th is de Vries, who dropped 4 positions. In 8th is Buemi, who gained 3 positions. In 7th is Ericsson, who gained 11 positions. In 6th is Günther, who gained 10 positions. In 5th is Müller, who gained 7 positions. In 4th is Verlaine, who dropped 3 positions. In 3rd is Cassidy, who gained 12 positions. In 2nd is Rowland, who gained 8 positions. And in 1st is Dennis, who gained 1 position. And now let's look at the quali for the Mexico City E-Prix. So in 20th position was de Vries, in 19th was Marti, in 18th was Ericsson, in 17th was Maloney, in 16th was Vergne, in 15th was Drugovich, in 14th is Cassidy, in 13th is Di Grassi, in 12th is Nato, in 11th is Verlaine, in 10th is da Costa, in 9th is Günther, in 8th was Rowland, in 7th is Dennis, in 6th is Ticktum, in 5th is Müller, in 4th is Evans, in 3rd is Mortara, in 2nd is Barnard, and in 1st is Buemi. And this is how the Mexico City race turned out. In 20th was de Vries, who stayed where he was. In 19th was da Costa, who dropped 9 positions. In 18th was Ticktum, who dropped 12 positions. All 3 of those had a DNF. In 17th was Buemi, who dropped 16 positions. In 16th was Maloney, who gained 1 position. In 15th was Drugovich, who stayed where he was. In 14th is Ericsson, who gained 4 positions. In 13th is Di Grassi, who stayed where he was. In 12th is Günther, who dropped 3 positions. In 11th was Evans, who dropped 7 positions. In 10th is Nato, who gained 2 positions. In 9th is Müller, who dropped 4 positions. In 8th is Vergne, who gained 8 positions. In 7th was Marti, who gained 12 positions. In 6th was Verlaine, who gained 5 positions. In 5th was Dennis, who gained 2 positions. In In fourth was Barnard, who dropped 2 positions. In third was Rowland, who gained 5 positions. In second is Mortara, who gained 1 position. And in first was Cassidy, who gained 13 positions. And now let's look at the Miami quali. So in 20th position was Tictum, in 19th was Degrassi, in 18th was Verne, in 17th was Mortara, in 16th was Dennis, in 15th was Buemi, in 14th was Maloney, in 13th was Marty, in 12th was Verlaine, in 11th was Rowland, in 10th was Gunter, in 9th was Evans, in 8th was Nato, in 7th is Cassidy, in 6th is Ericsson, in 5th is Barnard, in 4th is De Vries, in 3rd is Da Costa, in 2nd is Drugovic, and in 1st is Muller. And now for the Miami race. In 20th, he was the only one who had a DNF, and that's Tictum, who stayed where he was. In 19th was Gunter, who dropped 9 positions. In 18th was Drugovic, who dropped 16 positions. In 17th was Nato, who dropped 9 positions. In 16th was Cassidy, who dropped 9 positions. In 15th was Verne, who gained 3 positions. In 14th was Barnard, who dropped 9 positions. In 13th was Degrassi, who gained 6 positions. In 12th was Rowland, who dropped 1 position. In 11th is Maloney, who gained 3 positions. In 10th is Dennis, who gained 6 positions. In 9th is Marty, who gained 4 positions. In 8th was Da Costa, who dropped 5 positions. In 7th is Buemi, who gained 8 positions. In 6th was Mortara, who gained 11 positions. In 5th was De Vries, who dropped 1 position. In 4th was Ericsson, who gained 2 positions. In 3rd was Verlaine, who gained 9 positions. In 2nd was Muller, who dropped 1 position. And in 1st was Evans, who gained 8 positions. So let's talk about Jeddah, the first Jeddah quali. And in 20th was Maloney. In 19th was Buemi. In 18th was Drugovic. In 17th was Degrassi. In 16th was Rowland. In 15th was Marty. In 14th was Ericsson. In 13th was Cassidy. In 12th was Tictum. In 11th was De Vries. In 10th was Evans. In 9th was Dennis. In 8th was Verne. In 7th was Muller. In 6th was Da Costa. In 5th was Barnard. In 4th was Nato. In 3rd was Verlaine. In the 2nd was Gunter. And in 1st was Mortara. And in terms of the first Jeddah race, in 20th position was De Vries, who dropped 9 positions. In 19th was Maloney, who gained 1 position. In 18th was Ericsson, who dropped 4 positions. In 17th was Rowland, who dropped 1 position. In 16th was Degrassi, who gained 1 position. In 15th was Drugovic, who gained 3 positions. In 14th was Marty, who gained 1 position. In 13th was Nato, who dropped 9 positions. In 12th was Tictum, who stayed where he was. In 11th was Gunter, who dropped 9 positions. In 10th was Barnard, who dropped 5 positions. In 9th was Dennis, who stayed where he was. In 8th was Verne, who stayed where he was. In 7th was Buemi, who gained 12 positions. In 6th was Cassidy, who gained 7 positions. In 5th was Da Costa, who gained 1 position. In 4th was Muller, who gained 3 positions. In 3rd was Evans, who gained 7 positions. In 2nd was Mortara, who dropped 1 position. And in 1st was Verlaine, who gained 2 positions. And now onto the second lot of Jeddah races and qualies. And for the quali for the second Jeddah race, in 20th position was Degrassi, in 19th was Ericsson, in 18th was De Vries, in 17th was Barnard, in 16th was Muller, in 15th was Nato, in 14th was Marty, in 13th was Evans, in 12th was Drugovic, in 11th was Verlaine, in 10th was Maloney, in 9th was Tictum, in 8th was Cassidy, in 7th was Buemi, in 6th was Gunter, in 5th was Verne, in 4th was Rowland, in 3rd was Da Costa, in 2nd was Dennis, and in 1st was Mortara again. And this is how the second race panned out. In 20th was De Vries, who dropped 2 positions. In 19th was Dennis, who dropped 17 positions. In 18th was Maloney, who dropped 2 positions. In 17th was Nato, who dropped 2 positions. In 16th was Muller, who stayed where he was. In 15th was Degrassi, who gained 5 positions. In 14th was Cassidy, who dropped 6 positions. In 13th was Ericsson, who gained 6 positions. In 12th was Drugovic, who stayed where he was. In 11th was Gunter, who dropped 5 positions. In 10th was Barnard, who gained 7 positions. In 9th was Verne, who dropped 4 positions. In 8th was Verlaine, who gained 3 positions. In 7th was Evans, who gained 6 positions. In 6th was Marty, who gained 8 positions. In 5th was Tictum, who gained 4 positions. In 4th was Mortara, who dropped 3 positions. In 3rd was Rowland, who gained 3 positions. In 2nd was Buemi, who gained 5 positions. And in 1st was Da Costa, who gained 2 positions. And now on to the Madrid quali. So in 20th position was Drugovic. In 19th was Degrassi. In 18th was Verne. In 17th was Ericsson. In 16th was Evans, in 15th was Barnard, in 14th was Buemi, in 13th was Muller, in 12th was Marti, in 11th was Dennis, in 10th was Maloney, in 9th was Ticktum, in 8th was Rowland, in 7th was Gunter, in 6th was Verlaine, in 5th was Mortara, in 4th was Nato, in 3rd was Da Costa, in 2nd was De Vries, and in 1st was Cassidy. And onto the race now. So in 20th position was Maloney, who dropped 10 positions, in 19th was Barnard, who dropped 4 positions, in 18th was De Vries, who dropped 16 positions, in 17th was Cassidy, who dropped 16 positions, in 16th was Rowland, who dropped 8 positions, in 15th was Drugovic, who gained 5 positions, in 14th was Verne, who gained 4 positions, in 13th was Gunter, who dropped 6 positions, in 12th was De Grasse, who gained 7 positions, in 11th was Nato, who dropped 7 positions, in 10th was Ericsson, who gained 7 positions, in 9th was Marti, who gained 3 positions, in 8th was Muller, who gained 5 positions, in 7th was Buemi, who gained 7 positions, in 6th was Dennis, who gained 5 positions, in 5th was Mortara, who stayed where he was, in 4th was Ticktum, who gained 5 positions, in 3rd was Verlaine, who gained 3 positions, in 2nd was Evans, who gained 14 positions, and in 1st was Da Costa, who gained 2 positions. And now let's look at the standings. So in terms of drivers, in 1st place is Verlaine with 83, and in 2nd is Mortara with 72, in 3rd is Evans with 65, in 4th is Da Costa with 64, in 5th is Cassidy with 51, in 6th is Muller with 50, in 7th is Rowland with 49, in 8th is Dennis with 47, in 9th is Buemi with 43, in 10th is Ticktum with 22, in 11th is Ericsson with 19, and in 12th is Marti also with 19, in 13th is Barnard with 14, in 14th is De Vries with 12, in 15th is Verne with 10, in 16th is Gunter with 8, in 17th is Nato with 1, in 18th is Maloney with 1, in 19th is Drugovic with nothing, and so is De Grasse in 20th with nothing. And in terms of teams, in 1st position is Porsche on 133 points, 4 points behind them. In 2nd is Jaguar with 129, and then behind them, 45 points behind, is Mahindra on 84. In 4th is Envision Racing on 62, they're 22 points behind Mahindra. In 5th is Citroën, who is 1 point behind Envision on 61. In 6th is Nissan, who are 11 points behind on 50. In 7th is Andretti, who are further 3 points behind on 47. In 8th is Cupra Cairo, who are 6 points behind on 41. In 9th is DS Penske, who are 19 points behind on 22. And in 10th is Lola Yamaha, who are on 1 point, so they are 21 points behind. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget that next week we'll also be talking about Formula E in terms of the rookies and the Formula Evo sessions, which were also very exciting. And don't forget that we have a Formula 1 race rundown for the Japanese Grand Prix, so that's also to look forward to next week on Monday, as this week was not a race weekend in Formula 1. Hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and don't forget to check out my lovely colleagues on the Be The Change Media Network. Don't forget to check out BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com for all of your website needs. And as I said, hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend, hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll see you next Saturday. Goodbye.